So let's talk about you and your career and what like sparked your interest in wanting to pursue a music career. And has it always been that way since you were a little kid, or were you like other kids like, I want to be a firefighter, or was it always music?
No, I wanted to be a race. I wanted to build and race cars, and I was a car fanatic, and I wanted to do music ever since I was 7, 8. And I started. I would draw it on my notebooks. I asked my mom to get me a Casio keyboard, and every year I keep it. Give me a bigger one for Christmas, a big one and a bigger one. And I was just obsessed. Like I look at now how obsessed I was when I look at other kids now who aren't so obsessed with stuff. Um, Even when they're making it, even when they're doing good at it, they're not the same kind of obsessed. I think that my generation and Puff and people like that, we were another kind of obsessed. And I just 24/7, all I do is play keyboards, try to write songs 24/7, 24/7, 24/7. So by the time I got 16 and started putting out my first records, I met Joyce Irby from Climax. And I started putting out records with her at 16, 17, 18. I started doing another bad creation and Boys to Men and going into TLC and all that. And I was still in bad contracts, so my mom couldn't. It was no money to be at. She was working at a barbecue joint, and I just kept writing and kept just like seeing myself somewhere else, like blindly. I didn't even know.
You always felt like it was gonna. To know at 7 to the point where you inspired to. Did you submit a demo to Warner Brothers after looking at an album cover of Prince? Is that the story?
Yeah, and my mom. And when it came back in the mail, my mom saw the Warner Brothers letterhead. She's like, "What are you doing with something from Warner Brothers?" I'm like, "Oh, they sent me a letter," and I opened it and it said, "Hey, sorry, we do not accept unsolicited material. Get a lawyer, manager, something." And I was so excited because them getting a letter back made me, to me, think as a kid, you don't think about you just think that, wow, they actually typed me back. You know what I'm saying? And that let me know that the next thing could happen and the next thing could happen. So I just kind of got obsessed on that track of it's unblinding. That's why I always tell people that say, well, what would you say to somebody who, or in the industry who wants to do it? If you're not like that, if it's not aggravating to you, if it didn't aggravate you 24/7 to have to get it out of you, and it's something just nudging you, write that song, put this thing down, go play your keyboard, go do that. If it's not that probably ain't for you. You got to find what is like that for you to do that, But for me, it was music.
It was in your DNA. I mean, and your hits. You've written multiple Billboard #1 hits, including "The Boy's Mine" for Brandy and Monica, as well as TLC's "Creep." So, as a man, how are you able to kind of like speak so well and create these songs from a male perspective that women are like, that's exactly how I feel?
Sometimes I guess I was a horrible boyfriend and understood it. Or,
You was a horrible boyfriend, you said?
it was two things. Sometimes, I was always friends with girls coming up in school, and I was friends with them more than like guys in that sense because I was a music guy. I wasn't really this football guy or whatever. And I would just hear what they were going through. I hear what they would talk about, how they would say it, and have those conversations with them as a friend. And as I started to get into songwriting and listen to LA and Babyface and Jimmy and Terry and stuff like that, I was like, man, these guys are writing really good songs for Janet, really good songs. And so I feel like when I would work with a girls group, I knew how to write things that they wouldn't necessarily say on their sleeve, but how they felt. Like she would say, yeah, I cheated on you. I didn't want to. I just needed some attention, and you wasn't there for me. I still love you, I wish you would like, that's why I had to creep, you would have did it. You would have crept out too. So it's really having these, I think it's two parts. I've listened to things that I've done before, like when you get into it with a girl or when she say, you hurt me because you did this and you did that and you did the other. And then I'm like, oh man, okay. I just had an understanding for where you're coming from, and then I could take that thing and then regurgitate it another way. And I just learned that story, most of those 3-minute stories that you have to make in the songs, girls are gonna have a lot of more emotions about stuff. It's gonna be a whole different kind of playing field. It's nothing you really can't do or can't say. Well, God can't come off too soft, or he can't come off too this or too arrogant or too, and so I just feel like women, I have way more just of a range of things to write about. And you can be way more emotional. You can be way more, even with T-Boz, she wouldn't sing anything that a girl was saying. She's like, that's too soft. So Chili could sing. Chili wouldn't sing nothing that the guys would sing like that. She didn't want to be coming off without, it was hard to get Chili out of dresses when we first started TLC because she's a woman, you know, she's a girl. Was T-Boz has always been the guy of the girls. She's always been hanging with us in the skating rink and all this kind of stuff, even before. That's why Nunu plays her character in ATL, Lauren London.
So yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. I definitely want to go back to the Brandy and Monica thing too, but I got a lot of things to ask you. So the movie ATL was inspired, right? That's inspired by all y'all, your lifestyles, right?
Yeah,
Growing up, y'all story.
yeah. When I did Drumline and ATL, those are my two movies about myself, and they were at two different points in life. Whereas Drumline, I was in the marching band, really in high school, and with ATL, it was kind of like the ending of high school, going into us having this career. And me and T-Boz and Jermaine Dupri and all of us, we've been friends before TLC. And when we started to do the group, you know, Tion used to sneak and go to the skating rink, sneak and go to this place, sneak and go that way, go to that place. And so we incorporated that and that story when I was doing ATL. And I was trying to tell them about how it was to skate in Atlanta, in Hollywood. And they were like, yeah, that's cool, that's cool, that's cool. But then Drumline came out and became a hit. And they knew I had ATL as my next movie. So Fox went and did Roll Bounce. And when they did Roll Bounce, Warner Brothers looked at me and said, oh man, we can't do this. It's just another skating rink movie. They just clipped your movie. And ATL was called Jelly Beans before. And it was a period piece about the skating rink we all went to when we were coming up. But because they still do that same thing in Atlanta now, I went back to them and said, no, that's a period piece. Our movie is different. It's right now. It's rapping now. They're doing this stuff right now. And that's how I got it kind of pushed through. But yeah, T.I. plays my character. I had to go show him how to skate, and and all the people that they're skating with, those are my guys I skated with. And
really, so you got the real people. So, I mean, I got to ask you before we go to commercial: is there going to be an ATL 2? Because everyone loved that movie. Everyone can relate to that movie. Like there were so many different like little sub stories that were like, man, I felt like that. I knew someone like that. Will we get an ATL 2?
I wanted to do it, but I think for one, the time passed too long for them to want to see. Yeah, because when they tried to pitch it and T.I. and them came back, say everybody started saying they're doing 2. I looked at the little trailer they shot and I'm like, well, to tell you the truth, guys, they don't want to see 40-year-old people in the skating rink without. So we'll have to come up with something else. I felt like I would have turned ATL into what Donald has turned Atlanta into the series. Mm-hmm. And I think that if anything, it's still room for growth and still room to happen under the ATL 2, but it has to be realistic to what's going on, just like that was at the time, you know. And a lot of things have changed in Atlanta. A lot of record companies, a lot of street record companies, a lot of that still has to coincide with it. So I just think the story has to be a little different.
Got it. Now, I got to ask you something, Dallas. Yep. Is it true that you witnessed a physical altercation between Monica and Brandy before a show? What is the real tea?
I mean, they were young and they always just had their kind of beef from just being different from each other. You know, Monica's really real in Atlanta and Brandy's from LA, you know, so it's just a little bit of a tension that was always there. And but I think it really got elevated by people also, them being two singers. And they kind of kept egging it up. But yeah, they had an altercation before they went on an award show.
Who won?
It wasn't even a win situation. It was just like
I want to know who got the hands.
Monica,
back in the day.
Monica did the hands. Monica, did the hands, but it, I think it was happened so fast that they were in shock. But it was just real, and it was nothing to be like. They wasn't gonna let them have a knockdown drag out. But if you watch the verses, then you can see as nice as they are, and nice it was. I mean, I didn't say this, but other people kept being like, "Oh, is Brandy throwing shade? Is that shade?" So that's the kind of shade that's always been there. If you could see it, it's natural shade though. They ain't even like intentional.
I mean, once you have a fight with someone, you can make up with them, but it's still gonna be a little bit of a okay, I see. So was it for you though, because you saw that, right? Was it cool for you to see them kind of push their thing, their little thing aside to do a versus battle?
They pushed it aside a long time ago because, like I said, everybody grow up, and in the process of growing up, that I think they've been cool for a long time before that. But I think that moment on Versus was the first time that people got to see that platform of both of them sitting there like that, and it's just one of those things that's inevitable. It couldn't help but to come out, and then people got a chance to see. Oh, that may be why, because she would always throw shade on Monica, like, "Oh, the ghetto girl's here," something like that, Yeah, so it was. So I'm glad to see that, for one, that they've they could have made a lot of money during that time. If they could have made something on the road and using that to their advantage. But you know, when something is a real feeling, and it ain't happening, it ain't happening.
And but that was dope that they did do that together. But that's funny that the shade there's still something there. I mean, we human though, you know what I mean? So
That's a normal reaction.